Hey Colts, this is Mrs. Hladun and Ben Hladun, my fourth grader, and we are going to do some more reading from the story, The One and Only Ivan. Now, Ben, you told me that you read the story, right? What grade were you in when you read it? Last year, so in third grade. And did you read it yourself or did your teacher read it aloud to you? Yeah, and did you enjoy it? If you had to rank it on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being a wonderful book and 1 being a terrible book, how might you rank it?
4.
A 4, so it was pretty good. Okay, cool. Have you read the sequel? Oh no, I don't think it's out yet. There's a sequel coming out this summer called The One and Only Bob. Do you think you'd want to read the sequel?
Hold on. Oh, Bob.
What do you think? Maybe?
Maybe.
Okay, cool. All right, well, we're going to do some more reading. So remember, this book is written in a different style, whereas a lot of books are written with formal chapters. This one's written more like in vignettes, and so it kind of looks like this. Like this is a chapter. See how it's got like a little title at the top, and then it's got some words, but then the next chapter is right here. And some of the chapters are like 1 page, and some of them are several pages. So we're going to read about 15 pages of the book, but I don't know how many chapters that is. So this chapter, oh, and when we left off, we learned a little bit about Ivan's home, and we're getting the impression that he lives in kind of like a circus that has shops built around it, so it's kind of like a circus with a mall, and he is a silverback gorilla, and doesn't necessarily have any special tricks that we know of yet, because the person who owns the big top feels like his just existence is like amazing enough and he doesn't need to do anything special. But there's all different kinds of animals that live in the community where he lives, and we're kind of learning about them as we go. So here we go. This section's called Gone. Some animals live privately, unwatched, but that's not my life. My life is flashing lights and pointing fingers and uninvited visitors. Inches away, humans flatten their little hands against the wall of glass that separates us. The glass says you are this and we are that, and that is how it will always be. Humans leave their fingerprints behind, sticky with candy, slick with sweat. Each night, a weary man comes to wipe them away. Sometimes I press my nose against the glass. My nose print, like your fingerprint, is the first and last and only one. The man wipes the glass, and then I am gone. That's interesting, huh? The next section is called Artists. Here in my domain, I do not have much to do. You can only throw so many me balls at humans before you get bored. A me ball is made by rolling up a dung the size of a small apple and then letting it dry. I always keep a few on hand. Now, do you know what dung is? Ben, what's dung? Poop. So he takes his poop and he rolls it up into little balls that are like the shape of an apple or the size of an apple, and he leaves them out to dry, and it sounds like he throws them at the humans that are at the glass. Is that how you're interpreting it, Ben?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. For some reason, my visitors never seem to carry any. In my domain, I have a tire swing, a baseball, a tiny plastic pool filled with dirty water, and even an old TV. I have a stuffed toy gorilla, too. Julia, the daughter of the weary man who cleans the mall each night, gave it to me. The gorilla has empty eyes and floppy limbs, but I sleep with it every night. I call it Not Tag. Tag was my twin sister's name. Julia is 10 years old. She has hair like black glass and a wide half-moon smile. She and I have a lot in common. We are both great apes, and we are both artists. It was Julia who gave me my first crayon, a stubby blue one slipped through the broken spot in my glass along with a folded piece of paper. I knew what to do with it. I'd watched Julia draw. When I dragged the crayon across the paper, it left a trail in its wake like a slithering blue snake. Julia's drawings are wild with color and movement. She draws things that aren't real, clouds that smile and cars that swim. She draws until her crayons break and her paper rips. Her pictures are like pieces of a dream. I can't draw dreamy pictures. I never remember my dreams, although sometimes I awaken with my fists clenched and my heart hammering. My drawings seem pale and timid next to Julia's. She draws the ideas in her head. I draw the things in my cage, simple items that fill my days. An apple core, a banana peel, a candy wrapper. I often eat my subjects before I draw them. But even though I draw the same things over and over again, I never get bored with my art. When I'm drawing, that's all I think about. I don't think about where I am, about yesterday or tomorrow. I just move my crayons across the paper. Humans don't always seem to recognize what I've drawn. They squint, they cock their heads, they murmur. I'll draw a banana, a perfectly lovely banana, and they'll say it's a yellow airplane or it's a duck without wings. That's all right. I'm not drawing for them. I'm drawing for me. Max soon realized that people will pay for a picture made by a gorilla, even if they don't know what it is. Now I draw nearly every day. My work sells for $20 a piece, $25 with a frame, at the gift shop near my domain. If I get tired and need a break, I eat my crayons. Here's some pictures of the art that he drew. That's funny, that when he gets tired and needs a break, he eats his crayons. Don't do that at home. I don't think that's a good idea. It seems to work for Ivan, but I don't think that's a good human trait. Okay, this chapter is called Shapes in Clouds. I think I've always been an artist. Even as a baby, still clinging to my mother, I had an artist's eye. I saw shapes in the clouds and sculptures in the tumbled stones at the bottom of a stream. I grabbed at colors, the crimson flower just out of reach, the ebony bird streaking past. I don't remember much about my early life, but I do remember this. Whenever I got the chance, I would dip my fingers into cool mud and use my mother's back for a canvas. She was a patient soul, my mother. This chapter is called Imagination. Someday, I hope I can draw the way Julia draws, imagining worlds that don't yet exist. I know what most humans think. They think gorillas don't have imaginations. They think we don't remember our past or ponder our futures. Come to think of it, I suppose they have a point. Mostly I think about what is and not what could be. I've learned not to get my hopes up. The Loneliest Gorilla in the World is the title of this chapter. When the Big Top Mall was first built, it smelled of new paint and fresh hay, and humans came to visit from morning till night. They drifted past my domain like logs on a lazy river. Lately, a day might go by without a single visitor. Max says he's worried. He says I'm not cute anymore. He says, Ivan, you've lost your magic, old guy. You used to be a hit. It's true that some of my visitors don't linger the way they used to. They stare through the glass. They cluck their tongues. They frown while I watch TV. He looks lonely, they say. Not long ago, a little boy stood before my glass, tears streaming down his smooth red cheeks. He must be the loneliest gorilla in the world, he said, clutching his mother's hand. At times like that, I wish humans could understand me the way I understand them. It's not so bad, I wanted to tell the little boy. With enough time, you can get used to almost anything. TV is the title of this section. My visitors are often surprised when they see the TV Mac put in my domain. They seem to find it odd, the sight of a gorilla staring at tiny humans in a box. Sometimes I wonder, though, is it the way they stare at me sitting in my tiny box just as strange? My TV is old. It doesn't always work, and sometimes days will go by before anyone remembers to turn it on. I'll watch anything, but I'm particularly fond of cartoons with their bright jungle colors. I especially enjoy it when someone slips on a banana peel. Bob, my dog friend, loves TV almost as much as I do. He prefers to watch professional bowling and cat food commercials. Bob and I have seen many romance movies too. In romance, there is so much hugging and sometimes face licking. I have yet to see a single romance starring a gorilla. We also enjoy old Western movies. In a Western, someone always says, "This town ain't big enough for the both of us, Sheriff." In a Western, you can tell who the good guys are and who the bad guys are, and the good guys always win. Bob says Westerns are nothing like real life. What do you think? There's the TV he watches. Oh, do you think that's his reflection in the glass? Interesting. What do you think about that? So the last part says that in Westerns you can tell who the good guys are and who the bad guys are, and the good guys always win. And Bob says Westerns are nothing like real life. Do you think that's true? Do you think that if If you're a good guy, if you make good choices, that you tend to do better in the end, or do the people who make bad choices tend to get ahead? It's an interesting question. Okay, this section is called the Nature Show. I have been in my domain for 9,859 days alone. For a while, when I was young and foolish, I thought I was the last gorilla on earth. I tried not to dwell on it. Still, it's hard to stay upbeat when you think there's no more of you. Then one night, after I watched a movie about a man in black hats with guns and feeble-minded horses, a different show came on. It was not a cartoon, not a romance, not a western. I saw a lush forest. I heard birds murmuring, the grass moved, the trees rustled. Sorry, I'm having a hard time turning the page. Then I saw him. He was a bit threadbare and scrawny, and not as good looking as I am, to be honest, but enough he was a gorilla. And suddenly as he'd appeared, the gorilla vanished, and in his place was a scruffy white animal called, I learned, a polar bear, and then a chubby water creature called a manatee, and then another animal and another. All night I sat wondering about the gorilla I'd glimpsed. Where did he live? Would he ever come to visit? If there was a he somewhere, could there be a she as well? Or was it just the two of us and all the world trapped in our own separate boxes? This section is called Stella. Stella says she's sure I will see another gorilla, live gorilla, someday. And I believe her because she is even older than I am and her eyes are like black stars and she knows more than I will ever know. Stella is a mountain. Next to her, I am a rock and Bob is a grain of sand. Every night when the stores close and the moon washes the world with milky light, Stella and I talk. We don't have much in common, but we have enough. We are huge and alone, and we both love yogurt raisins. Sometimes Stella tells stories of her childhood, of leafy canopies hidden by mist and the busy songs of flowing water. Unlike me, she recalls every detail of her past. Stella loves the moon with its untroubled smile. I love the feel of the sun on my belly. She says, it's quite a belly, my friend, and I say, thank you, and so is yours. We talk, but not too much. Elephants, like gorillas, do not waste words. Stella used to perform in a large and famous circus, and she still does some of those tricks for our show. During one stunt, Stella stands on her hind legs while Snickers jumps on her head. It's hard to stand on your hind legs when you weigh more than 40 men. If you're a circus elephant and you stand on your hind legs while a dog jumps on your head, you get a treat. If you do not, the claw stick comes swinging. Elephant hide is thick as bark on an ancient tree, but a claw stick can pierce it like a leaf. Once Stella saw a trainer hit a bull elephant with a claw stick. A bull is like a silverback, noble, contained, calm like a cobra is calm. When the claw stick caught the bull's flesh, he tossed the trainer in the air with his tusk. The man flew, Stella said, like an ugly bird. She never saw the bull again. It makes me sad. Here's a picture of Stella. So she's an elephant, in case you didn't quite figure that out. And does she look old to you? Look at her eyes. Don't they look like they've seen a lot? She looks like an old soul. All right. Well, tomorrow we're going to keep reading and we're going to learn a little bit more, I'm guessing, a little bit about Stella and about the other friends in the Big Top space. And in the back of the book, we talked about how we meet somebody named Ruby, a baby elephant. So at some point we're going to meet Ruby and I look forward to that. So anyways, I hope you're enjoying this story. It's giving me a lot to think about, and I hope it's giving you a lot to think about too. I hope you have a great day, friends, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.